We're getting something up that's passable. And again, if this is your first time doing it or one of the first times, trust me, the template, do it. So let's get into it. Step by step, block by block. All right, so we're going to start at the top, obviously, as your reader will do as well. And once people land, let's start with the first thing that they see. Now, before we get into deep into the design stuff, that is one of the major pitfalls where people think, okay, making a website, let's talk design. No. Design is secondary. What's primary? What's the first thing that comes to mind? What's the first thing that should be solid, rock solid? If you said copy, you won. Awesome. It's copy. The copy should be solid. Copy should be primary, design secondary. If anyone tells you different, they're wrong. If you have beautiful design and shit copy, it's not going to work. If you have excellent copy, shit design might just work. If you combine decent design with solid copy, it's going to work. Copy is king. Doesn't matter how well you dress, if you talk like a retard, you're not going to sell anything. So design should serve copy, never the other way around. Let's get that clear. And also, again, if you're going to look at client stuff in the near future, like when they want you to look at their marketing, you're going to see this mistake made so often. Like where it's everything centers around it making, looking beautiful, but saying nothing. It's one of the easiest hacks, one of the easiest ways to massively improve whatever a client is doing. Yeah, copy improvement. Anyhow, we're going to put together a first version of the site. So the general principles of persuasion and selling and copywriting are going to be solid and they're going to be there. Everything is governed by that. So let's start with the headline. Because yes, the website needs a headline. And it's the thing that most people fuck up immediately. Like, what do most people do? Once you go to any website, basically, what do most people do? They start with a massive logo and then the name of the brand. Interestingly enough, I saw the same thing when I was looking at marketing agency websites just to get a sense of who am I competing with, right? Most of them do the same thing. It's like me making a website saying Arno Winger. And then usually they say something stupid like #1 online marketing agency in the galaxy or something dim-witted like that. Brother, no one cares about your name. No one cares about your logo. No one cares about your brand. No one cares about you putting, a feather up your own ass, talking about how amazing you are. They don't. People care about themselves. Remember WIIFM? What's in it for me? Let's stick to those principles. So the headline should convey to the client what we do and what we do for them as soon as possible. Like, what's in it for you? Why should you read? What is this about? We want to answer those questions quickly. Because if we don't, we're going to lose them really quickly. Don't want to do that. Want to keep them. Because in order for them to get in touch with us, first we need to catch them, grab them by the throat in a nice way. I don't know if you can do that in a nice way, but, metaphorically in a nice way. So pay attention. So here's what we're going to do for now. Now, obviously, if you have an existing product, do whatever fits your product. If you have an existing service, do whatever, fits your service. For now, we haven't decided yet exactly on which niche we're going to approach, what the exact product or service is going to look like. So for now, we know we're going to work on marketing. We're going to improve their results. So we're going to go with more growth, more turnover, more clients, guaranteed. That's a solid headline. More growth, more turnover, more clients, guaranteed. What's the guarantee? I don't know. We're getting to that. If you pick up anything from the business in a box process, it's the tendency and the importance of taking it one step at a time. Now, we'll figure out the guarantee later, but you can bet your ass I'm going to have it, and you can bet your ass you're going to have it. Why? Because all of the competitors are afraid of guaranteeing anything. Real quick story. Used to have a guarantee in real estate. When I was in real estate, something like your home sold within X amount of days, like if the market was selling in 90 days, right? Let's say your home sold in 89 days, or we pay you 1,500 euros because I was in the Netherlands. Now, you have to understand, if I sold the house within that period, that was great. I got paid my commission. Let's say I had, stroke of bad luck. I sold it after, 100 days instead of 89. I would deduct 1,500 from my commission. My average commission was about $4,800. So I would still make a profit. Yes, I would make less of a profit. I know, but it's fine. I still made a profit. It's not like I was handing out $1,000, $1,500 to every person on the street, but it was a guarantee. It got me a lot of clients because I was the only one that had the balls to have some skin in the game. And I wasn't getting crushed because even if I lost, I still won. Power of a guarantee. We're going to use that, but we're going to get back to that later. So let's say we have a subhead. It's going to be, you do what you do best, and we handle the marketing. Together, we'll take your business to the next level. That's nice, that's elegant, that's smooth. It's also exactly what they want. We're going to see that in a second. But for now, if I'm correct in my assumptions about the business owner that we're targeting, but in this case, the local business owners, these people are busy. These people didn't sign up to become marketing experts. They're doing whatever they want to do. So you do what you do best, we handle marketing, and together we'll scale your business to the next level. That's our headline, that's our subhead. Well, let's get to the next block. So, next block. Again, what's the goal of a website? Real quick, goal of a website is to get them to get in touch with you, right? To make them raise their hand and say, yes, I'm interested. We want to sort of address the crowd and make sure that whoever is in the crowd that would fit our service, that would be a good client for us, is incentivized to say, yes, this is what I want. Now, obviously, like I said, we're going to add more. In the near future, we're going to have a lead magnet. We're going to give them a reason to opt in, to put their email address in. We're going to have an autoresponder. We're going to have all of that stuff. For now, again, nice and simple. I want them to get in touch with us. I want them, if they read it, either they got our outreach, or they found us somewhere, or a client referred us, basically saying, hey, you should get in touch with Arno, you in this case. I want them to go to the site and immediately see an option to put in, yes, I want to, get in touch with you guys. Please follow up. Now, easiest way to do it, simple form. Click the button, and then it's name, email address, maybe website, maybe phone number, depends. I'll see when I'm designing the form. And then probably the most important thing is, what is your most important question or problem or thing that you want to improve, or reason that you want to get in touch? We need something to go off of. Like if they get in touch with me and I get this form and it says, yeah, we've been struggling with XYZ for a while, and now we want to do ABC, but we're not experienced in doing that. So could you, at least I know who I'm talking to, right? At least I know what they want, like what's in their mind. And the more info we have, the easier the sale is going to be. So I want to entice them to give me some information. Obviously, we're going to qualify later on when we get to the sales portion. We're going to talk to them, going to ask questions, going to get information, going to use that to sell. But for now, need at least a little bit of information. So I think every website builder has the option of making like a block with the CTA, call to action. Can be a button, can be a form. We'll see how it looks when I get to the design part. But for now, headline, and then an easy way for them to get in touch. Because some of them are just going to get to the website in order to contact us. Don't make them struggle through your whole story. Have you seen that with recipes? It's the most annoying thing in the world. You try to find a recipe, and then the dude starts talking about, 1959, my grandpa was a whaler, and he met my grandma in the Barents Sea in Russia, and then they started building a boat together, and then they adopted a seal, and you're like, Brav, I want to know the recipe for a tomato soup. I don't care about your grandparents. Fuck off. So, make it easy for them. Headline CTA. All right. Now, what we want to do is for those people that want a little bit more information, we want to tell them, like, basically what we do, why it's a good idea to get in touch with us, how we help companies, like that. That's what we want to do. All of this stuff, again, with some small changes left and right, can obviously be used in your social profiles as well, right? But let's go over the formula again. So we had the headline, that's done. Now you want to go problem, agitate, solve. Now, probably the most important thing as a salesperson, as a copywriter, as basically someone that is trying to make a sale, let's put it like that, trying to get people to see his side of the equation, trying to entice people to do something. You need to be able to walk in their shoes. And what I mean by that is you need to be able to envision what life is like for them. Like, what are they struggling with? Why are they even reading this? Why would it make sense for them to do this? If you can't answer that, well, you can't sell them. Doesn't make any sense. Again, if you're a brain surgeon, someone walks in, says, yeah, good to be here. And you say, well, what brings you in today? And he says, yeah, I don't know, actually. Is your brain okay? Yeah, it's fine. Just, wanted to walk in. Nice office. Well, it's hard to sell to that person, right? Because there's nothing wrong with his brain. Well, maybe if you walk into random offices, there is something wrong with your brain. But on the surface, like if he says there's nothing wrong, well, there's nothing for us to sell. It's going to be a hard time. So we need to know what moves people. So if you look at the client that we're targeting, right? Again, this is all based on assumption. I was this person for a long time. So I'm pretty sure that I'm either spot on or I'm close. This is maybe, I don't know, probably something that is an excellent addition to the Business in a Box program, where if you would start, you'd have no idea because you haven't been in the position. Like, maybe you would have an idea, but you don't know exactly how it feels. I know how it feels to be a business owner, a local business owner. And let me tell you, you are busy. And you didn't get into business to become a marketing expert. You got into business usually for the same reason that everyone goes into business. If you've read The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, it's on required reading, a good book to read, you would recognize the term entrepreneurial seizure. A lot of people get in business because they have an entrepreneurial seizure. They're driving around, maybe they're a plumber, driving around for their boss. Maybe a client is nasty to them. Maybe their boss is an asshole. And at a certain point, like a light bulb goes off. It's like, holy shit, what am I doing? I can do this myself. Why am I working for someone else? I'm an idiot. If I started my own business, I would have all this money. And it's not that hard. Like, I've seen my boss, he's not that smart. I can do that. Shouldn't be too hard. I can just, do all this work. It's fine. This is the reason why people start a business usually, and they have no idea and no clue about how complex shit is about to get. Now, you get into it, and if you're good at your job, let's take the plumber from our example. If he's good, obviously he's going to have some clients. And unless he's, very dumb, he knows that there's more out there. If he would market his business, more people would come. If you build it, they will come. But he doesn't have the time. And he doesn't have the expertise either. And he's not really looking forward to picking all those skills up because he's busy. He's probably aware of some competitor that's doing better than him. Competitor's probably an asshole, wants to beat him. It's a secret desire, but he can't because you don't have the time. So if you had to put that into words, right? If you had to think about, okay, how would I phrase that? It's something like owning a business means you do everything. Yes, marketing is important, but all the other stuff is important too. And not only that, but there's so much to keep up with. Like even getting started, getting good at marketing. That's not the end of it. Like there's way more to be done. This is their problem. They want to scale. They want to do marketing. Maybe they're already doing marketing and they know they can do better, but they don't have the time. So we have our problem. Let's move to the next step, which is agitate. When I talk about agitate, it's very simple. Envision a wound. Let's say you got, stabbed in the shoulder. You're walking around in the UK, minding your own business, someone stabs you. It's a UK tradition. And you get to the doctor and bleeding out. And the doctor's like, okay, let's see. And you show him the little mark where the dagger went in. Hopefully not the machete. Takes his thumb, sticks it in there, and starts squeezing and turning it around. That's agitation. Now, that's not a good doctor. If he does that, you should go find a new doctor or a different one. But that is what we're trying to do. We've just identified a problem, and now we got to make sure that they realize it's actually a problem. So we're going to go deeper into it. Now, it sounds cruel when I say it like this, but we're doing it for a benevolent reason. We actually want to help them out. We want to help them solve it. If you don't have enough urgency to get people to do what you want, you'll find out that they don't do much. Because we all have enough problems, right? There's a lot going on. I have to sort of up the urgency, make sure that you realize how much of an issue this is, and then I can get you into action. So, when I want to agitate this, I could say, you could reach more people. There's way more out there. You could scale your business, way higher turnover, get more clients with less time, beat the competition. You could get way more out of your advertising dollars. Your business could be bigger. You could be a bigger name. But how? Yes, marketing is the key, but how do you get that going, right? Now, when I agitate it, I want to take away the different options that they have. So I want to say, you got stabbed, it hurts, and something needs to be done about this. Otherwise, your arm might fall off. And then I want to say, well, you can do 3 things, 4 things, or 1 thing, doesn't matter. Well, 1 thing wouldn't matter. You can do, let's say, 5 things, and then I have to tell them why 4 things of those 5 won't work. So in this case, put yourself in his shoes again, right? You want to get the marketing set up. You want to figure out how all this works. You want to scale. You want to do all of those things. So what options do you have? 1 is you do it all yourself. You figure out how marketing works, you do it all yourself. 2 is you put someone on payroll. So you get staff to do it for you. And 3 is that you hire a marketing agency, somewhat like us. So let's go over those, right? 1, you could do this yourself. Certainly possible, but you run into the time issue almost immediately. And also you run into the specialization issue. Instead of doing your job, which is running the business, probably doing whatever the business does, plumbing, surgery, dentistry, lawyering, whatever, doesn't matter, right? Whatever the business is about. Instead of doing that, you now get another job. And you already have a lot of jobs, but you get another job. Now you're also a marketer. And it's a full-time job, more than full-time probably. So we doubled your workload, maybe tripled it if you have some catching up to do. Now that's fine. If you weren't overworked, which you are, and if there were like 8 days in a week and 24 hours or 25 hours in a day, but they're not. So you run into a brick wall if you try to do it all yourself. Now, number 2, you could also put someone on the payroll. It would mean you'd have to be pretty careful in selection because the person you hire better make sure he can do everything without too much oversight. And we all know that it isn't easy to find good people, right? Rarely do you hire someone and immediately it's a superstar, never have to hire anyone again. So it's going to take a while for them to prove themselves. And then if you hire the wrong person, you have to fire them. Costly decision. And then you have to hire a new person and get them on board again. And I don't know how many times you have to do that, but it probably takes a while. So it's a big risk. It might work out fine, but it is a gigantic risk. And it's only one person. That person, gets sick, gets depressed. Any one of 100,000 things, well, you're screwed. So, could also do number 3. Could hire a marketing firm. Seems like a great solution, and it works for quite a few people. Although chances are that you'll run into a similar issue as a lot of our previous clients. Now, I'm doing this as if I'm talking to the client, right? A lot of our other clients have reported in the past. And if you don't have any clients in the past, which you probably don't, chances are that you'll run into the same thing that a lot of local / smaller businesses run into when they make the decision to get an agency involved. Unless you're doing like a massive turnover and spending tens of thousands of dollars on ads every month or even every week, you end up being just another client, one of 100 other small fish in the pond. You pay a massive monthly retainer, and your account ends up getting handled by the intern that works for the assistant of the assistant manager. So you're not getting exactly, the best people on your account just because you're not big enough for them to warrant the expense. So that's 3 options, and all 3 have been sort of wiped off the table. Now it's time to talk about our solution. Okay, now that we've taken away all the other options, it's time to present us at the solution. Now, you might have seen this in the past if you watch, for example, Telcel. You know when they sell like the stuff on television with the blenders or the knives or cleaning utensils or the thing that you do on your abs, and then it's a massager, and then magically you get abs. Remember those things? If you've never seen it, it's fascinating. But it's the same formula all around. Like, okay, here's the problem. Here's why that problem sucks. Here's all the things that you could do, but all of those things don't work anyway. And here's our solution. So that's where we are. Let's focus on what we can do that our competitors cannot. Now, I want you to pay attention to this because, again, it's going to come in handy for sales. It's going to come in handy for future blogs, Twitter, everywhere that you want to advertise, everything that you want to say, every argument you want to make. What the vast majority of business owners do wrong is that they focus on dumb shit. Like, so if I ask you, like, why should I do business with you instead of any other competitor? They go into like some weird diatribes. Yeah, well, we give great service. We give great service. And, I've been in business for a long time and we're really good at what we do. We're also very friendly. Yeah, we have good stuff. And they go through all this bullshit. And here's the major problem. Any competitor can say the exact same. You want to make sure that whatever you say is either impossible for them to copy or to mimic, or, alternatively, it's hard for them to copy or to mimic. You want to say something that they don't. Maybe they do it, or maybe they could say it, but if they don't, that's enough. So we focus on the thing that sort of drives us as a business and that makes us unique. So think about, we're a local business. So we're not tucked away in some anonymous office 200 kilometers from you where you get to a call center and then you have to talk to the assistant of the assistant and it's very hard to reach someone and you don't know where they are. Like, we are a local business. I live here just like you. So we're on the ground, in the mud right here next to you. We're doing this. And if for that whatever reason, if you need me, it's easy to get a hold of me. I think that's the local angle. A lot of competitors can't say that just because they're not in the same spot. We can say we have a strong business lens. We're not in it to win awards. We're not in it for everything to look pretty and to make the new funniest advertising campaign ever. We are in it to make sales. We have a business lens. We look at it from a business perspective, and we want to get results. It's not about standing out and showing other agencies how good we are. It's about you and your business and being results driven. We could say, especially in a sales call, we only work with certain niches. We only work with your business. So if you're a undertaker, we only work with undertakers, or we specialize in undertakers. And this is why we're always up to speed on what is the most effective way of advertising undertakers or cosmetic surgeons or dog trainers or whatever the hell you are, right? That doesn't matter. Like, we specialize in a certain niche. If you could find a way to say this, we have a boutique style of helping our clients. So it's not about cramming our entire roster full of clients until we don't have any hours more left to commit. Like, we are pretty selective with who we work with. So it really needs to make sense. This is why we're talking now, you and I, Mr. Prospect. And if it makes sense and we take you on as a client, like I block those hours off and that's it. Like I can only work with 3, 5, 11, 2.4 clients at a time. And after that, it's done. Like I cut it off, and the only opening that there's going to be is if a client goes away, a client decides not to work with us anymore, which, rarely happens. Or, maybe if I expand the business. But for now, really focused on helping whoever is on our roster. Can also say we're plugged in to the latest developments in your field. So we make sure we always have the latest data on successful campaigns that they're running, that your competitors are running, or that like national level competitors are running, or that in other countries what they are running. So we don't have to start from a blank slate. We roughly know what works, what we could try out, what we could test with, and we have access to vast resources to make sure that we take all of the guesswork out of the advertising. Also, a very strong one. We are, as far as I know, the only agency that works with an actual guarantee. We believe in having skin in the game. We believe in doing this together. Like if you win, we win. To us, that's most important. So we're going to set it up in a way where you're not the only one taking all the risk. Like we shoulder that burden together, so we'll be motivated to do an excellent job for you. See how all of those make sense for a prospect? It's not about how friendly you are. It's not about how long you've been in business. And they don't really care. Like for those people asking, like, how is it going to work if I'm young or if I'm old or if I have this nationality? Commerce doesn't really care about all that. It's like the least racist, sexist, ageist, ableist environment known to man. Commerce doesn't care. Money doesn't care what color you are or how old you are. Doesn't really care. It flows to you if you provide value to the marketplace. In this case, if you can make it clear that your actual value add for these people, yes, money will flow to you. It is that simple. This isn't complicated. This isn't hard. So focus on the stuff that actually makes a difference for them. These are the solutions. This is what we're going to convey to them, what we want to show on our website, but also what we're going to build a sales presentation around. And now it's time to look at some design. So let's see how we're going to make this all look semi-passable so we can move on to the next step. So what I'll be doing is I'll be walking you through the website that I made, because I know all of you are asking me about design. Is this good? Is that good? I'll just show you mine. So you have like a base, something to use as an example and something to build off of. A couple things you need to know. One is in the beginning, there was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. In other words, copy is king. We're going to start with that. Design should always be at the mercy of copy. If it's super pretty and it's very impressive, doesn't have anything to say, it doesn't add anything to a prospect's life, it doesn't answer any questions, you're just looking at a pretty page. People don't do that. You can find prettier stuff everywhere. So copy is king. We start with that. It's the bedrock of whatever we do. If what comes out of your mouth and what's on your site is moronic, you are going to fail. So let's always start with copy. It needs to be rock solid. Number two, the site will change over time. I don't want you to be surprised when it happens. Whatever you see now, it might have changed by the time you see this. Like obviously it's always evolving as we go on in the course. There's going to be more stuff added to it. Maybe I'll change some text. Maybe I'll change some pictures. We'll see. Maybe once we get our first money in, I'll ask a designer to take a look, make it all pretty and nice and fancy. We'll see. For now,